start that they want to ask? Okay, so folks, we need to now be quiet. Okay, Gareth. We just need everyone because we're going to start the program once
Hi everyone,
the video's
I'm Tim Peake
finished.
and welcome aboard the International Space Station, where we're orbiting Earth 16 times every day. One of the most rewarding activities that some astronauts undertake on orbit is to talk to schools using the space station's ham radio. Now these are events that are planned by ARISS, which is a worldwide group of amateur radio volunteers who are dedicated to introducing young people and students to science, technology, engineering and mathematics.
Okay, hello everyone. This is Kieran Morgan, M0XTD, your moderator for today. Through the help of the amateur radio volunteers and the crew on the ISS, we will soon hope to establish radio contact with the International Space Station as it flies more than 400 kilometers above the Earth over northern Canada and the USA. This is all accomplished by ARISS, Amateur Radio on the International Space Station. The ISS is currently approaching the western border of Canada and the United States and heading towards the east coast of Maryland, where K6DUE is situated, travelling at nearly 28,000 kilometers per hour. The contact for today will be performed using the ARISS Telebridge network, a worldwide network of amateur radio ground stations that enable students to contact the ISS. ARISS is a consortium of volunteers from 9 nations that develop and operate the amateur radio equipment on board the International Space Station. Those that support ARISS are the American Radio Relay League, the Worldwide AMSAT Amateur Radio Satellite Corporations, the Canadian Space Agency, the European Space Agency, the Japanese Space Agency, Roscosmos, the Russian Space Agency, and NASA. The ground station that will establish contact with the ISS today is K6DUE, located in the state of Maryland in the United States, and operated by Bob McCowan, N3IYI, Ken McCoy, N3FZX, and Tommy Owen, N3TJO. We have about just under 6 minutes now until the contact. Our link up today is with the students attending the Eric Knows charity based in Bishop Auckland in England. We've asked their teacher and founder, Ella, to give us a little bit about the school and the students taking part today. So Ella, very briefly, can you tell us a little bit about Eric Knows, please?
I can. Here at Eric Knows, we work with special educational needs and disabilities, brackets SEND, children, and their families and adults. The aim of Eric is to make the world more accessible to disabled children and adults. Eric aims to make education more accessible, and he aims to make employment more accessible. We run STEM sessions and support sessions for autistic children and their families so they can learn and work in a more inclusive environment. Our ethos is to celebrate and embrace how children and adults can be different and what their strengths are. We also give schools the tools they need to help their neurodivergent students thrive. Eric Knows was created before Ella, the founder, knew she would have 3 neurodivergent children of her own, and her own personal experience has driven her further than she thought possible. Today's contact with the ISS means more than you could know, as we are building an inclusive learning environment where students can be themselves. They don't need to mask or try to fit in. We are working to create a sense of belonging and acceptance so people can thrive. But most importantly, we're helping young people identify their strengths, so their passions can drive them forward in life, and the world is a more encouraging and nurturing place. We're extremely grateful to yourselves, our wonderful workforce, and extended colleagues who have teamed together to make this happen. So on behalf of everybody here, thank you.
Thank you, Ella. Now to Bob at K6DUE in Maryland. Before the contact begins, can you tell us briefly about your station, where you are, and how you'll handle the conversation today? We've currently got 3 minutes to AOS.
Good morning, everyone. This is Bob McCown at K6DUE. My radio call sign is N3IYI. Assisted today by Tommy Owens, N3TJO, and Ken McCoy, N3FZX. Using a two-way radio that goes one way at a time, and until we have a signal, the radio will sound like this. Okay. Once we acquire signal, and you see a clock in about minutes, we'll have a chance to talk to the astronaut as soon as the clock counts down to 0. When we get ready to call the ISS, we'll open the squelch, you'll hear that noise, you'll hear some of this static until the ISS answers our call. Once we've established contact, we will turn over to the first student to ask their question. So as soon as you hear the astronaut talking, we will talk to him briefly, make sure we have a good contact, and then we will say, over to the first student to ask their question, and go right ahead at that time and go right down through the list of questions. So everybody has a chance, hopefully, to ask their question. We issue great success, and let's see, we're only about a minute 30 till AOS. K6DUE, Karen, back over to you. Over.
Thank you, Bob at K6DUE. Right, as Bob said, we're just over a minute now before the space station comes over the horizon at K6DUE. Remember, what we're doing on the ISS today is an experiment, so you never can tell the results, positive or negative, until the experiment is over. Good luck, students, and don't forget to say over at the end of your question. Everybody should now be in position. Eva, if you would like to step up and be ready at the microphone for your first question. And when Bob at K6DUE says it's your time to speak, you will then ask your question. So in about 30 seconds, the space station should be coming over Maryland. Bob at K6DUE, it's all yours and good luck.
Okay, thank you very much, Karen. NA1SS, NA1SS, this is K6DUE calling for scheduled school contact. Over. NA1SS, NA1SS, this is K6DUE calling for scheduled school contact. Over. NA1SS, NA1SS, this is K6DUE calling for scheduled school contact. Over. NA1SS, NA1SS, this is K6DUE for a scheduled school contact. Over. NA1SS, NA1SS, calling for scheduled school contact. Over. NA1SS, NA1SS, this is K6DUE for scheduled school contact. Over.
This is NA1SS. How do you read?
Loud and clear. School, go ahead with your first question. Over.
This is Eva. Who or what inspired you to become an astronaut? Over.
So many things inspired me to be an astronaut. I remember seeing rocket launches as a kid. I remember seeing pictures, looking outside of space. So many things inspired me to want to go be in the astronaut corps and viewing Earth, expanding our frontier for human civilization. All of those things wanted me to expand. So
This is Adam. What do you think the strangest thing about being in space is over?
Well, it's kind of timely right now since we had a big solar storm. I love looking at the aurora. It's been the strangest thing. It's like you're flying through green clouds. We haven't seen them yet currently because the way we're flying, we're in high beta and can't see it. But holy cow, watching the aurora and the northern and the southern lights is absolutely amazing.
This is Emily. I have autism and ADHD. How will this affect my chances of getting into the space program? Over.
We are expanding the spaceflight program so much. Many people in our astronaut corps right now have medical conditions that would not have been allowed to fly in the Mercury, Gemini, Apollo era. So right now it's still pretty restrictive medically, but we are expanding space for everyone as we move on to the moon and to Mars. Over.
This is Jessie. What do thunder and lightning storms look like from space? Over.
I think thunder and lightning storms are second for me to aurora in terms of how awesome they are to watch. Sometimes I'll look at the weather maps and predict when we're going to fly over a thunderstorm just so I can go set up cameras to record how beautiful the thunder and lightning is. Additionally, we have a new experiment we're putting outside that will capture some of the thunder, and I think it's sponsored by the European Space Agency. Over.
This is Tig. What does... Asking Charlie's question. What meal are you looking forward to have when you get back down to Earth? Over.
I'm looking forward to something crunchy. We can't have crunchy foods up here because it makes too many crumbs. They float away and make a mess. So chips and salsa or chips and guacamole sound really nice right now. Over.
This is Cody. What material does your spacesuit and helmet contain and why? Over.
Oh, our spacesuit is made of so many materials. We have some plastics that are clear to make the visor. We have one of the helmets is 3D printed. We have rubber bladder materials to keep all the air inside, and then that's covered by textiles to keep the bladders from bursting under pressure. Most of our spacesuits are white so that they reflect the energy of the sun when we go outside so we don't heat up. Just they're an incredible mix of materials. We have finely machined metals and tubing to handle pure oxygen. They're just really incredible works of art. A spacesuit is really a spaceship.
This is Isaac. What activities do you do to relax in space? Over.
Well, this is one of the activities I do to relax. It's nice to talk to people outside the space station for a chance, and I get to talk to you guys today, so this is relaxing. I like to go look outside the window. I like to take pictures. I probably got close to maybe 100,000 pictures at this point that I've taken trying to capture the beauty of the space station inside and out. Over.
This is Sophia. How much oxygen does an oxygen tank hold? Over.
Well, it depends on what we need the oxygen for. The oxygen tank on a rocket ship, and most rocket ships use oxygen off the ground, thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of liquid oxygen being mixed with a propellant to get the rocket off the Earth. If you're talking about how much we breathe maybe in a spacesuit half a pound, in the course of a spacewalk over 8 hours, and so we carry oxygen tanks that'll get us that far. High pressure oxygen tanks that carry a lot of oxygen in it to allow us to live in our spacesuit for 8 hours. Over.
This is Isabel asking Samuel's question. How much gravity is on the space station? Over.
Well, maybe this is a homework assignment. You can go look it up, but you can do the math. But I kind of did it back in the envelope here. We have about 90% of the gravity that you guys have on Earth up here. We just don't feel it per se because we're falling the whole time. So we're about 400 kilometers up, and about 90% of the gravity we have on Earth.
This is Harriet. What is your favourite thing about being an astronaut and in space? Over.
My favorite thing, oh man, there's so many things, but I think it's, again, you probably got the theme. It's looking out the window. Looking out the window is just so amazing. Over.
This is Ella asking Amia's question. can you see the constellations from space? And if so, which is your favourite? Over.
Well, I've only seen one since I've been up here. Most of our windows face Earth, but the past few nights a couple weeks ago, we were able to see Orion quite a bit. And it's really cool to me about watching Orion, or any constellation for that matter, is how fast it moves along the horizon because we're going so fast around the Earth. So you get to watch Orion scream to the sky and then sunset. So I guess I've always seen one that I've identified up here, so Orion's got to be it. Over.
This is Adam asking Geflin's question. What does it feel like when you get down to on Earth? Over.
Well, you're going to have to ask me in a few months. I've not been home yet. This is my first space flight. I've been in space for 2 months, and I got 4 months to go. It takes about a couple weeks to get adapted. But my friends have said it's pretty hard for the first couple weeks.
Go ahead, school. Next question. Go ahead.
If you could go anywhere in the universe, where would it be and why? Over.
If I could go anywhere in the universe, where would it be and why? There's so many places to go. I think a 6-month stay on the surface of the moon on a lunar base would be pretty awesome. Over.
Next question, go ahead.
Hi, this is Sam asking Tig's question. How do you get into bed in space, and do you get a good night's sleep? Over.
We have a sleeping bag up here that's strapped to the wall, and because all of us sleep in different positions and different orientations, but I slide into my sleeping bag, zip it up, and my sleeping bag keeps me contained. And after a couple weeks, you get used to sleeping in space, and you sleep pretty well up here. In fact, I just woke up about 15 minutes before this meeting floated on over here and got to talk to you guys. Over.
How long are you in space? And how long are you away from your family? Over.
August. So I'm away from my family quite a bit. I have a wife and 2 daughters, and obviously extended family with brothers and parents. And so it's pretty tough being away from home for 6 months, but I get to talk to them quite a bit on the phone, or we can video chat, and that's a good way to connect. And additionally, I joined the Astronaut Corps from the Navy, so I'm used to going away for long periods of time. It doesn't make it any easier, but I'm familiar with it. Over.
Okay, this is K6DUE. That was the last question. Ella Baines, would you like to make a few comments to Matthew? Go ahead, Ella.
Hi, Matthew. I just wanted to say a huge thank you on behalf of everybody at Eric Knows, Amateur Radio, Durham Youth Council, Glow Church, and everybody who's been involved in this project. I think for neurodivergent and disabled students to be involved in something like this is wonderful. And I'm hoping that from today, young people are inspired, not just by what we all do, but by what they love. And that they're inspired to go forward and grab that with both hands. So I cannot express our gratitude enough to you for today. This has been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ella, and thank you, Matthew. And a big cheer from the school. Go ahead. Go ahead, Matthew, if you're still there. I think we've lost signal. This is K6DUE. We'll be clear with NA1SS. Thank you very much for the contact. Over.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we've just shared a moment in history. Amateur radio station K6DUE, operated by Bob, Ken, and Tommy, contacted astronaut Matthew Dominick, NA-1SS, aboard the International Space Station and spoke with students at the Eric Knows charity located in Bishop Auckland in England. Now for the international volunteer team of ARISS, including the amateur radio satellite corporations around the world, the American Radio Relay League, the Canadian Space Agency, the European Space Agency, of which the UK is part of, the Japanese Space Agency, and NASA. This is Kieran Morgan, amateur radio operator M0XTD, currently in York in England, sending my greetings to all of you in amateur radio terms, 7 threes, which means best wishes. Congratulations everyone, and well done on a superb contact.
Thank you very much, Karen.
Thanks,
and I think
Bob.
we'll stand by and listen to the rest of the program.
Okay.
Over. And honored.
So, one of the special things that we have is that ARISS works with the UK Space Agency to promote the ARISS contacts and to promote STEM and STEAM activities in schools with school children just like yourselves. We have today a special visitor, James Vincenti, who's going to give us a brief talk on his personal experiences of career paths for neurodivergent people within the space industry. So James, over to you, and great to speak to you at last.
Hello everyone. Sound check, is this okay?
Yep, that's perfectly okay.
Yeah. So my name's James Vincenti, and I work in the UK Space Agency under Mariam, who's also on the call. I'm diagnosed with high functioning autism myself, and at school, when I was at school, it wasn't quite as well known as it is for you young people, and I was told effectively that I was no hope, no use at school. So I actually left school with not many qualifications and worked in B&Q DIY store for many years. I had a manager there who we didn't always see eye to eye, but he did me a huge favor and said, James, you're wasted here. Try and go back to university or do something. So he signed my form to give me a reference, and I did the only thing I could ever do, which was biology. And I did my honours degree in biology. I then, at the end of that, said to my supervisor, I'm thinking about taking this further. And he said, about time. Pulled open his drawer, and there was an already signed application form, a reference from himself for doing a PhD, which I then did in neuroscience. So I did my PhD in neuroscience and thoroughly enjoyed it. But decided at the end of it that the career in scientific research wasn't necessarily for me. So I joined the Animal Plant Health Agency, of all things, doing the immunology side of my neuroscience degree, which was looking at the immune system in the brain. And I worked on a vaccine project for an animal, which then came to a close. And I worked then in environmental science for 10 years, which was mainly in water quality, which is a huge part of space. Earth observation looks closely at the waterways in the world. And that sort of caught my attention to the space industry. Now, concurrently with this, I'm also a volunteer at the Science Museum. I've been volunteering there for 10 years. And STEM outreach is a very big part of my life. And then the job came up in the UK Space Agency doing STEM outreach. And I thought, right, I'm going to apply for this. So I did, and here I am. So my points here is never give up. It is a hard life sometimes when you have autism. The world's not necessarily built for you, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a place for you. That's my main point. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's a direct path into the space industry. You can come in from all directions. And I get to now watch something like this, which has been truly, truly inspiring to watch. So I'll admit it, I had a tear in my eye. So it's lovely to see that. So thank you. Any questions, if you wish?
Thank you, James. That's truly inspiring and a lovely story. So thank you very much. And don't be surprised about the tear in your eye. We often get adults with tears in their eyes with ARISS contacts. So finally, I'd like to introduce Marianne Shelton, who is with the UK Space Agency as well. Marianne, would you like to say a few words of greetings to everybody at Eric Knows?
Yeah, hi everybody. Really pleased to be here. Yes, I'm Marianne. I'm in the education team with James. We really are thrilled to be here. The UK Space Agency is a government body that supports the UK space sector, which is really growing in the UK. Is a really big part of the UK economy. We do lots of space science, space exploration and discovery. We have our 4 astronauts, so there are jobs for. It's quite a difficult thing to become an astronaut, but we employ 50,000 people. Well, not the agency, but the space sector, 50,000 people, and there really is. Our CEO likes to say there's a place for everybody in this space sector, yes, I'm just really pleased to be here again. Like James, I've found it personally really inspiring hearing from the astronauts, and I hope you did too. Yeah, thank you for attending, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Marianne. So back to Eric Knows. We've come to the end of our program now. Is there anything you would like to ask us before we disappear?
I want to say thank you to everybody who's been involved with this. So everybody who's joined us on Teams today. But the students, how good were you? You guys were amazing. So yeah, huge thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you, Ella. And what we'll do now is we'll finish the Teams call and say a big thank you to K6DUE as well. So if we could give a great big round of applause, everybody, to K6DUE for being up so early in the morning in America.
We very much enjoy doing these things. From K6DUE, over.
Thank you, K6DUE. And from myself, Kieran Morgan, on behalf of the ARISS team in the UK, thank you very much. Congratulations on a spectacular contact today. And I hope you go on to enjoy the rest of the day with some fun activities as well. So this is Kieran Morgan, M0XTD, signing off and saying thank you very much and good luck and have a great day.
Thank you.
Hello, and Kelvin, that was super.